and welcome back for a special episode to Gloster, Canary, Australia. Now, just an update with the channel. There will be a season 3, which will be kicking off in January next year. Now, if anyone would like to be a part of the channel, either showcasing your birds, filming in your bird room, or you want me to come down to a home visit, or clubs all over would like to reach out and send through some footage, yeah, please contact me on the Facebook page to Gloster, Canary, Australia. Okay, guys, now the club has been contacted to do a video, a talk about Glosters, and we've got Rod Knight. He's the Vice President of the Gloster Club. He's just about to do a talk. All right, guys, let's over to Rod.
Okay, I'd like to welcome everyone today to the Gloster Club, our October meeting. I'm going to do a short talk on the Gloster Canary, both the Consort and Corona. I'll just describe what we should be looking for, and I'm also going to put in about the faults, and I'm going to tell everyone how I pick a nice Gloster when I'm judging. So a bit of everything today. I'll try not to be too long. It'll probably bore some people, but we'll see how we go. So I've got some flyers I've printed off, and thanks to Milton, he's printed off some for me as well on the feather faults. And a lot of this information is out of Jeff's handbook, which I have over there, the blue one, which Jeff put together years ago. So it's very informative and it's well worth a read. So I'll start off with the Gloster Canary. This is a beautiful crested miniature breed. Is one of the newer type canaries, so its history and development is well recorded. They were originally bred from Mrs. Rogerson of Cheltenham. Sorry about the print. I had to squash the book in on the photocopy, and it's very hard to get it flat. But anyway, we'll do what we can do. Anyway, Gloucestershire, England. The birds were first shown in 1925 in the novice crested canary class at London's Crystal Palace, on the advice of Mr. A.W. Smith, the show manager, who also was responsible for naming the variety at a later stage. Mr. Smith named the variety with a contraction of the district name where it was developed. He also set down the first standard of excellence, which has only varied slightly over the years. The judge on the day was Mr. John McLay, had also bred some small crested birds himself, and with the help, Mrs. Rogerson's birds were developed into the Gloster fancy. Her birds have resulted from crossing the smallest crested rollers. Change the page. Hope I got the right bloody pages. With border fancy that was able to obtain over several years. By contrast, Mr. McLay's birds had come from chance across matings between small borders used as feeders and his own crested canaries. Mr. McLay later became the first president of the Gloster Club, Fancy Club of Victoria Club. From these beginnings, the Gloster Fancy has developed into one of the most popular breeds of canary. Nowadays, it challenges the border fancy for the greatest number benched at most shows. In recent years, the Gloster has outnumbered the borders at the English National Exhibition of cage and aviary birds. The Gloster fancy in Australia owes its beginnings in the 1950s to Mrs. Violet Denny of Melbourne. Mrs. Denny saw the Gloster's fancy in England on one of her overseas trips to buy English Norwich and lizards. She was fascinated by these delightful new birds and arranged for several pairs to be included with her shipment. They had to be shipped via New Zealand to comply with quarantine laws. You wouldn't be able to get them now. The birds' duty arrived, and soon Mrs. Denny had bred many Glosters from this stock. These quickly spread to fellow fanciers locally and interstate. The Gloster has never looked back. The stronghold was Melbourne, but it was 1977 before the first Australian specialist club, the Gloster Fancy, was formed in Melbourne. and the Gloster Club of Victoria. And that's due to Jeff Leaney and his mother. Is that right, Jeff? Yep. The Gloster's popularity in Australia increases each year and vies with the Border Fancy as the most popular breed of most major shows. The main attraction of the Gloster is undoubtedly the corona, but its diminutive size, unwillingness to breed, and availability of quality stock is at reasonable prices all contribute to its popularity. There is the added challenge of breeding two distinct types, the crone and the consort. The name crone and the consort were given to the birds to dissociate them from the larger crest and crested birds. The crested bird is the corona, a halo or small crown, and the plain-headed partner is the consort. Description. All the features of the Gloster are taken into consideration when it's being judged, not just the corona size, although important, has no specific limit. The standard states tendency to the diminutive. As a miniature canary, the smaller it is, the better. However, small size alone does not make a good Gloster. It is the overall appearance that counts. This explains why large birds often win at shows, although with two birds of the similar body shape, the prize would go to the smaller bird. The corona radiates from centre pinpoint on the top of the head and falls, leaving in the rough round shape to the top of the beak and across the top of the eye. The head feathers should be broad and leafy with a discernible vein. The corona must blend evenly into the side and back of the head. The eye must be clearly visible so that the bird remains lively and alert. The head blends into the thick neck, which in turn leads to the short cobby body. A short tail, compact wings, and short legs with small feet are also required. The body feathers should be fine, neat, and with a natural sheen and a deep natural colour. The consort has the same cobby body shape as the corona, but has a rounded head rising sharply from a small beak. The feathers over the head must be long and full, so forming eyebrows. As a test, the head feathers, when pushed forward with a coin, will extend past the back of the end of the beak and a good consort. This is a test that only you can form. A judge is not allowed to handle a bird to check the head feather length. When viewed from above, the eyes should not be visible but hidden by the eyebrows. The official standard is different from the other varieties, and that is not only the usual side views of the coronal consort, but also has a top view of each bird. These views clearly show the judge should see when the bird is viewed from above. The drawings are well done by the fancy by Mr. C.E. Minijut, of Luton, England. So that's just a bit of a rundown on the Gloster. I'll keep going on and on and on. But anyway, that gives you basics of where the Gloster came from and what we should be looking for. Now, what we've got here, we've got a blind, which is, we've had this for years, and it's bloody fantastic. You can actually see what when we're looking at a nice Gloster, what we should be looking for, especially when you're judging. Go for the consort side. And these are, every canary, when we're being judged, is out of 100 points. So, I mean, they'll vary from type to type, from plain heads to borders to fifes to lizards. But and on that, the lizard is the only canary that's not judged on mainly its shape. It's all its markings. So every other canary is judged on their shape. But if we go then the points for consort, the head's must be broad, round at every point, a good rise over the center skull. What that means is when you're looking at a bird, no matter where you're looking at it, whether you're looking from the top, the front, the back, side, it's got to be round. It's got to be round everywhere. So it's got to be round there, it's got to be round there, it's got to be round there, it's got to be round there. Heavy showing brow. So with the eye and the head, you should have a nice round again, but it should be a nice rise out and then over the head. And then even with the head, you should have a good lift over the beak and back skull. You need back skull. So that's that part there. And if you've got a good bird with a good back skull, nice round head, that's what you put the breeder, nice corona. So you put them there, you'll get that nice fall over the beak, and you'll get a lovely bird out of it. Body, well filled back and wings laying close thereof. Full neck, chest nicely rounded without prominence. Now, if you look down here, this model is not real great. The chest is too pointed to me. That's just a bit too big. It's a nice bird, but could have done with a better example of that. But anyway, wings. Yeah, the wings. A lot of birds are nice, but the wings should actually come together. When they're lying on their back and they're not flying, they're stationary, they should be touching. And a lot of birds, you get that horrible gap. That's one of the faults, which I'll discuss later on. The tail, closely folded, well carried. So it shouldn't be, shouldn't have anything like fishtail. That's a fault. When the feathers are spread out, you've got a big gap. And they should be nice and neat. A good idea before you're showing the bird is to, especially a clear bird, give it a little bit of a wash and just make sure it's nice and straight, not a loose feather. And if there is a loose feather that's broken, just pluck it out. Little tip. The plumage, close, firm, giving a full appearance, good quality and natural colour. Well, the plumage, that's just your feather quality. Always bath your bird 2 days before a show. Don't do it the day before. I always bath my birds 2 days before a show. That gives them time to preen themselves and get them right. If you do it the day before, they don't look as good. So 2 days and they should come up really nice. So no, I just give them water. You can. I don't know what it's like I don't know what it's called. Yeah, it's like an oily thing they put in, but I think they've got enough natural oils in their feathers. I don't think I need it personally, but anyway. Carriage, alert, quick, lively movement. So yeah, it's got to be well. It's got to be, don't want it puffed up or not moving, and that's training in the cage as well. When you especially get a young bird, you've got to get them into the young stock shows early, get them used to the cage. Let them just stand there and don't move, but that's a thing, that's just experience. Legs and feet, medium length, no blemish. So they've got to be all one colour. They can't be blotchy in colour. Not too long, and make sure you trim all their toes and their beak for a show. That's another thing you've got to do. Size tends to diminutive. Well, I find that hard to. I don't know why they use the word diminutive. I mean, a canary they haven't got it here, but the canary can be up to 4.5 inches long. That's from tip, beak to tail. So that's a fair length, really, when you talk about a small canary. And to the diminutive, I mean, where do you start? I mean, they've got to be small. They've got to go for the smallest bird, but I find that's just a bit not here or there. But anyway, we'll go through that later on. And condition, health. Well, you've got to be a healthy bird. So, and if you have a look at the points, when you're judging, a lot of people worry about the size first. The size is important to me, but as a judge, I've got to look at type. Type is the most important. Your type carries 40%. There's your type there. The shape, what it should look like, the shape of the head, shape of the body, and how it carries itself. That's 40% points. Size is important, but when I'm judging, I don't look at the size. I look at the type. I bring up all the birds, and I say, well, it's got to be round. I've got to look. I have a look around them. I have a look over the top, and then I go through them. And if I see a bird that's got beautiful type, if it's a little bit big, it'll go up. I don't care. If you judge them on points, the small bird, the tiny bird, will get probably where's the size? It'll get 15 out of 15. But as they get smaller, they lose shape. They lose that roundness. The heads get pinhead. They don't get that brow. And the bigger bird will it will lose quite a few points for size, but then it'll gain it all on these. So that's why they say in the notes that generally the big bird goes up, because if you work on points, it'll win all the time. So, but it is important. If you get two birds identical, you've got to go for the small, and you can't split them. Go for the smaller bird. That's the way I judge. So, And with the corona, we'll go over the corona. This is very similar, but because the head's different, body's virtually the same. Neatness, regular, unbroken, round shape, eye discernible. So you must be able to see the eye, that means. And the crest should be neat. Look, again, it should be round all the way. The center point should be like a pin. No splits. And there should be no holes at the back of it. Occasionally you get holes through the back of the crest. And there should be good fall over the beak, over the head, I mean, but not too long. You still got to be able to see the eye. So yeah, diminutive center. So that's what you've got to aim for. This Clint's Blue Corona was a beautiful crest. And that had this similar to that, and it had just the center spot, so lovely. And it was a short bird, nice and round. So well done, Clint. Hey, thanks, Clint. That's right. Body well filled and wings laying close thereof. Full neck, chest nicely round without prominence. Again, without prominence. That again, I'm so picking on this bird. That's too much prominence for me. But anyway, that's my opinion. As I said, I might upset some people, but that's my opinion. I'm just telling what I think. Tail should be closely folded, well carried. Again, it's got to be neat. No broken feathers. No fish tail. No gappy wing and no gappy feathers. Where we are plumage, close, firm, giving a clear appearance, good quality in nature. Yeah. Again, give your birds a bath 2 days before. Make sure they're clean bird. You don't want to have any dirty feet, any dirty backside. Tail's got to be clean, especially on the clear birds. Where are we? Carriage, quick, live. That means it's got to be well. It's got to be a healthy bird. Feet and legs, same, medium length, no blemish. Size, diminutive, well, yeah. And condition, health and cleanness. So it's got to be, you've got to say that goes together, them things. They've got to be clean bird. That's out of 100 points. Faults. Now, I've got to get something on faults. There's a few flies here. I'm not going to go through everything, but I'll do faults actually without looking at this.
I'm not going to go through everything. I'd love to know the faults that pass down. Like, you know, that if that bird has that fault,
yeah.
Youngsters are generally going to have that fault.
Some will, some won't, because you've got two partners involved. So you never, if you've got a bird, if it's a beautiful shaped bird and it's got a tiny little chest cut, make sure your partner, whether it's a cock or hen, is clear, right? You'll get a nice bird, but you'll get one or two that will have a similar fault. So again, when I'm judging, this is what asks me too. I see a lot of birds, beautiful shaped birds, and they've got every so often they show this little fault, but it gets thrown on back on the. You don't want to judge it, and it loses points. It's still a lovely bird. It might not be perfect, but it shouldn't be put back as if it's not going to be judged again. I've seen it happen quite a few times. It's a lovely bird, and then at the end of the day, the judge picks this bird, which has got. It might be a clear bird, but it's lost a few more points. The other bird's a better bird, you know. So you've got to be careful when you're looking at the faults. Just be careful you don't down the bird because it's got a tiny little cut. You'll find if you had a real good look, every bird's got something wrong with it. So, but the most common fault is the chest cut across the chest. Sometimes they're in the middle, sometimes they're across one side. Around the neck, you'll get a. And yet sometimes they'll stand, they look fine, and as soon as they turn their neck, it opens up.
What about night feathers? Shouldn't they
Not really. It's just they're not tucked in. Sometimes you can just move the cage a bit, or you're not supposed to, but a pen, and you can get them to fluff, or they might be just not healthy. They might be a bit off colour. They show them a bit. But generally, they should be all birds should be able to tuck their night feathers in.
Just noticed here,
yeah,
it's quite cold.
Yeah,
It's a draft
right,
yeah. That door's open.
Yeah,
it's cold.
It will affect them. Yeah, yeah, that's right. Yeah, I can remember down at Dandenong a few years back, they show in the poultry pavilion at the showgrounds there, and every bird wouldn't show, and they kept looking. I'm looking up, and there's this butcher bird. It was up on the rail, and it's looking, yeah, especially the open wide cages. I said, well, there's wides, and they're not showing. They don't want to lose their head. So anyway, yeah, there's a lot of different things that can change the bird. Other faults is, I said, the wing carriage. It shouldn't be gappy. They should be touching. Most birds have got a little gap there, but they shouldn't have a big gap there. They should be virtually touching. The tail shouldn't be like a fish tail, which just fans out. If they're even a cut, I've even seen them on this area here, on the cheek. They shouldn't have that. There's another fault. What other faults are there, Milton? Can you think of any more? Yeah. Yep. Oh, they have, yeah. Yep.
Pointed out one on the left there being 262.
Yeah.
Most of the others go around the tail
Yeah,
there.
that's right. Oh, look at the tail on that. I mean, that's lost the feather and it's growing out again. And see that tail's already, that's a second year feather. It's growing longer. As I lose a feather, everything grows a bit longer. So, yeah. And that's all. See, that should be even. That should be a nice even. That's all wishy-washy. There's all different lengths feather in there. It's got a cut split in its. That's another thing in the corona. You shouldn't have any cuts in the corona. I shouldn't have any holes in the back of the corona. What are other faults? I think I've covered most of it. Yeah. 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 Sometimes it's nerves. I've seen a lot of birds. You put him in a show cage, or you grab him for the first time and put him in a cage, and they'll be gappy, and then within 10 minutes they're flying around, and they all meet again. So, but other times it's actually the fault. No matter what you do, they'll always show it. They'll always have that gap. But oh, that's drop wing. Yeah, that's another thing. That's another fault. I don't know whether that's.
Somewhere on that the droopy wings.
Yeah.
So we'll pull it up in small cages.
Yeah.
So it's a bit of a muscle, so if you can get a bit of flight.
Yeah, train them a bit. And sometimes in the nest they might get a bit squashed when they're very young. And it might be just a crook. It's only one side it will drop, or both sides. But I don't know what else we can talk about with the faults. Anything else? Can anyone mention the flat crest? Yeah, well, that's what I mean. That all comes in with the fall over the beak. It's got to have that lift. It's got to be round everywhere. So when you're judging, when you're looking at a bird, and when you're looking at your own stock, you've got to pick the bird that's got the shape in it. It's got to have shape. It's got to be round. Everywhere you look, from every direction, it should be round. Yeah. Another fault, especially on the Consort, is the head feels it's been squashed. Yeah. Nice and round, but the sides of the head, if they've been chopped, might have. Yeah, you see, that should have more roundness there. That over what they call the brow. It hasn't got enough brow on it. See the brow? See that the eyes nearly flush with that side of it. It should have it come out and round. So that he's got good brow. I can't really see too good, but he's got good brow. But
the beak, it's got the long beak with the show under the neck.
yeah, it should have a small beak. Make sure you trim the beak and the nails too, especially on an over-year bird. I see a lot of birds in the shows and they haven't been, and they've got the top incisor. It hangs, and looks bloody ugly. So, especially in breeding too, you must trim it because they're feeding chicks and they wouldn't be able to feed properly. And the toenails, always trim them before you go to a show. Make sure not too long, and even breeding, you don't want them catching themselves on the nest or flicking their chick out or. So yeah, but the most important is to give them a bath 2 days before a show, and especially the clear birds, make sure their tails are clean. I use newspaper in all my breeding boxes, And it's quite often I'll grab a clear bird with a nice clear tail, but it's all dirt. It's black on the bottom tip. You've got to wash it. Nearly becomes like a variegated bird. So, yeah. Another thing too, when you're showing your birds and you're painting the cage, freshly painting the cages, make sure the paint's dry. I've seen that on birds. I've seen black paint on, and make sure your cages are clean. That's another thing too. That's another thing too, hygiene. You want to breed a nice bird, you've got to put in the hours, and it's keeping your birds clean and healthy. That's what I mean. I spend 4 hours a week cleaning my birds. Every 4 hours, yeah. That's all, yeah. But in saying that, I have all my breeding boxes got metal trays. So every night the paper gets changed. So, and then once a week I the purchase lift off. I give them a wash. I take the trays because all the shit. Amazing how much shit that gets on the trays. You get a little brush them out. I've got mite spray. Give them mite spray. I wipe the back wall, top up the shower grit, and then that's which cage done. So when I've got about 60 breeding boxes at home. So it takes a while to get through. So yeah.
How do you know you've got white?
Your birds will be unwell and they'll be starting to die, and you should be able to see they in a bit of a torch of a night. You'll be able to see them crawling around.
Right.
Yeah, should be out there, especially red mite. It'll be bloody. Is that right, Jeff? You can see that. Oh yeah, yeah. And they stop. They get lethargic and stop eating. They look really. You just grab the bird and have a look. You'll probably able to see them under there. When you blow on their feathers. So, but I use in my flights. I've got 2 big flights for all my other birds I'm using, or the older birds, and even some young ones. And I've got wood shavings I buy in the big bale. They're great. And every week I go through again. I scrape all the ledges, wash all the perches and ledges. I wipe the walls best I can. I mean, they're a bit splattered now, and I get a dustpan and brush. I take the top, all the droppings off, mite spray, nice and everywhere, and then I throw a fresh lot over the top. And then every probably 3 months, I completely take the whole lot out and put fresh stuff on.
Whenever someone buys a bird, you always quarantine that bird.
Yeah, good point, Jeff. Yeah, I always I leave at least a week. I put them in. If I bought a couple of these plain heads I got, even though I know Steve Borg and Gary Payne, they've got great birds. I know they're clean. I had them for a week in separate cages. And first thing I got them home, I sprayed them with mite spray and I put a bath in, get them clean. And then I gave them all what I give them. I give my birds heaps of greens and apple every morning, and every day of the year they get egg food. I make it all year round, my egg food, and I give them that, and I get them used to my diet. And then after the week's up, I can go with my other birds, and it doesn't worry me. So
you don't give the dose of antibiotics or
no. Oh, Sammy Fruja. I'm not. This is nothing on Sammy Fruja, but he was told to give his birds this treatment, this antibiotic stuff, and then he used something else to reverse it, and he didn't breed a bird. I think they went in sterile or something. I look at it this way. Look at the wild birds. They haven't got any. They can't get any.
Yeah, but they're not living close.
I know. That's which hygiene comes in.
Yeah.
You keep your birds clean. They should be right. You can go in my bird room and you look at every bird and it's happy. It's healthy. It's bouncing around. The feather's beautiful on it. But
Wild birds don't have problems, but if you've got an open flight cage,
yep.
you will look at some problems with the wild birds that seem to carry them over.
Yeah, maybe, but
Bird room,
the secret to that, Jeff, is my outside where I got wire. I've got double wire, so I've got a wall about 4 or 5 inches thick. I've got wire both sides, so you'd have to be unlucky. I mean, if that wild bird did something, drop something, you'd have to get it through 2 lots of wire. So I've never had an issue. So, but the thing is just keeping them clean. Hygiene is the most important, I think, in the birds, and give them plenty of space too. My breeding boxes, they're this wide, all right, this wide, and I've got rows of 4x4, and what I've done, I can open them all up so it's all one flight. I've got this blips out of me, I made them all myself, and I've got core flute, which is the sign stuff. It's very soft, and I slide that in. So if they fly into it, it moves. It doesn't, and I can block them off to 4 separate ones, or I can have a one in the divider, which I do now. I have a divider in the middle, and then it gives me a double breeder for each pair, so they've got plenty of room. And especially when you're cleaning, you can keep them one side, hose it up. No, don't fly in them. Get in there while then there's no birds, and clean one side, open it up, and then they move into the other side. So that's the way I do it. So, and when I'm pairing, I never put one cock to 3. I always pair them up for the season. They always have a hen and a cock, leave them as is. So, and I find if you've got a good pair, the cockbird does most of the feeding. You'll see that he'll push off the hen and he'll feed the bird. So, that's what you're after, to help the hen out, and he'll feed the hen as well. So, but anyway, yeah. So I think that's about it. I could go into more, but it's too much bloody read. I think, yeah. All right, no worries. Well, good. Thank you.
Okay, everyone, that's all we have time for on this episode. I hope you guys enjoyed the talk on Glosters. Now, if you haven't subscribed to the channel, please do. Really appreciate it. And I'll see you guys at the next episode. Have a good one.